Hi there, class 10 students. This is your teacher and guide, Mrs. Preetka from English Frog Club. Today, I am going to explain the rest of the chapter of the diary of Anne Frank. Let's proceed further without wasting any time. Let's move on. Let me just ask you one thing. Have you subscribed to my channel? If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly consider subscribing the channel. Now let's move on to get the explanation of the rest of the chapter. In the previous part, we came to know that Anne has christened the name of the diary as Kitty. She calls her diary her friend. Now let's see what Anne has today to share with her friend Kitty. In this, our entire class is quacking in boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Now Anne is going to tell us something about the school. And she is discussing with her diary, she is sharing with her diary that on Saturday, June 20, 1942, she wrote this entry in the diary, and she has shared that that day her class, all the students in her class were quacking in their boots. That means they were quite fearful and nervous. Why they were quite fearful? They were afraid of something. What was that? Yes, you are guessing right. It was their result day. So that day it was going to be decided who will be promoted to the next form. So next form is the next class. So who will be promoted to the next class and who had to stay back in the same class. Half of the class is making bets. GN and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us. CN and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday saving on their bet. Okay, so now she is just explaining the experiences that she is having in the class while she was sitting on her bench with her friend GN, and then they were listening to the boys, those were sitting behind them, and Anne said that now both of them felt like laughing with the laughter on the silly thing that have been done by the two boys, that are CN and Jacques. They had made a bet whether one of them will be promoted to the next class or not class, and they have spent their entire holiday, complete holidays were spent in saving for the bet. So they didn't enjoy anything during their holidays. Whatever pocket money they were given by the parents, they kept on saving for it in case if they lose, so they need to pay to the other friend. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass? Not. I'm not. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. So the atmosphere of uncertainty is described in here, that children were not at all clear about whether they'll be able to be promoted to the next class or no. So every now and then they were asking each other whether they are going to pass or not. So this was the hot topic those days. Even G's pleading glances and my angry outbursts can't calm them down. So Anne said that G is one of the girl who is quite polite, and she pleaded, looked at them. Glance is look. So she pleaded at them, she looked at them in a requesting manner to keep quiet, and Anne got angry at them. Still they were not able to control themselves. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of class should be kept back, but teachers are the most unpredictable creature on the earth. So here Anne is expressing her opinion, what will happen, what will be the fate of the students. She said that nearly a quarter of 1/4 of the students in the class were should be kept back, and she said that they were of not of quite mature level. They had a low level of intelligence, or they were quite careless, and so that she was afraid that they would pass or not. But she said that now she is also of the opinion that you never know, because according to her, teachers are unpredictable. The most unpredictable persons in this world are teachers. So she said that anything can happen. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends, and myself will make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is mathematics. So Anne is a little worried about in the subject mathematics. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So she said that nothing would be done except waiting. So they were trying to boost each others up to, making everyone positive. So this was the only thing they could do at that time. Now here Anne is sharing her experience about the subjects that she is learning at school. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 of them and men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talk too much. Now she is a little worried about mathematics. It's not that she is not good at mathematics, but she doesn't have a good rapport with the teacher Keesing, because all the time she is a talkative girl and she used to talk a lot in her class, and she's going to share her musings in the classroom with what happened in her mathematics class with us. Let's read further. After several warnings, he suggested me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. Okay, so when he tried, Mr. Keesing tried everything to make Anne be quiet in the class, but she didn't control her. So as a punishment, Mr. Keesing gave her an essay to write. The topic of the essay was a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag, and tried to keep quiet. So Anne was a little worried. She was not sure what to write on this topic. Then she said, okay, I'll just move on. I'll just listen what the teacher is teaching in the class and see about the topic, what to write and not to write when I'll go home. That evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. So after completing her homework, she was just glancing, and then she happened to see the note where she had written the title of the essay she needed to write as a punishment. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing argument to prove the necessity of talking. So she said that it was easy to write 3-4 pages by leaving some spaces in between the words and writing less words in the lines. But here the topic was to bring some convincing argument. A statement should be made that would justify her talking in the class. That is what she wanted to write. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing and had assigned me and was satisfied. She said she kept on thinking, and all of a sudden an idea came to her mind, and she started writing 1 page, 2 page and 3 page, and 3 full page she wrote. Okay, and so what did she write in the essay? She is telling us further. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing has assigned me and was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's trait and that I would do my best to keep it under control. So, what she argued, what she had written in the essay was that talking is a student's trait, like it is a part of the personality of children to talk here and there. So, it's not controllable by the children, but still she would try to keep her trait under control. Let's see for what more she had written in the essay. But that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit since. But she also wrote that it would be impossible for her to cure herself, that it was not controllable, that talking trait was not controllable. Why? Because since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that's there not much you can do about heredited traits. So, she said in her essay that she has inherited this talking trait from her mother, and so heredity aspects or personalities are not could not be molded. It wasn't easy. So, still she would try to keep the talking under control. So, let's see what was the effect of the essay on the mathematics teacher, Mr. Keesing. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my argument, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. So, again, after just reading the essay, it was a little fun element was there, humor was there in the essay. So, Mr. Keesing laughed after reading the essay, and then but could not control her in the class again. She started talking again in the class, and that irritated the teacher, and he got angry, and again what would have been the result? Of course, and would be getting punishment. So, this time again she got an essay to write, and the title of this essay was An Incorrigible Chatterbox. So, incorrigible means that something that cannot be corrected, usually a bad quality. So, Mr. Keesing gave her this title to write now. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about 2 whole lessons. How during the 3rd lesson he finally had enough, and Frank, as punishment for talking in the class, write an essay. So, again she had written 2 essays now, but she still did not control herself, and then at last the teacher was so annoyed that she talked, she just said her loudly that this time she is to write an essay entitled, the title of the essay would be Quack, 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 said Mistress Chatterbox. Okay. So, look at the just what a funny title it is, and the teacher, she was just quacking like as ducks. Quack is a sound created by ducks. So, as ducks keep on quacking the whole day, in the same way Mr. Keesing was of the opinion that Anne was chatting in the class like a duck. So, he gave her this essay to write. Now, let's see what Anne does, whether she writes this essay, and what would be the effect on the teacher. The class roared. So, here roared stands for that everyone just had a great laugh. They bursted into laughter. I had to laugh too, though I would nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterbox. She said that I had already written enough on this topic, on talking trait, etc. So, it was, she was not sure about that she would write something original this time or be inventive on this topic. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend San, who's good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse. Now, her friend came to help her and she said that she can help her in writing the essay. Instead of essay, she would help her to write a poem on this topic. Whatever Anne wants to write, she can help her to convert that thing into a poem. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with his ridiculous subject, but I would make sure that the joke was on him. Now, Anne was really annoyed that every time this teacher is assigning me homework after homework on the same topic, and the purpose of the teacher is to make fun of her, make joke of her with that topic, that useless topic. Now she wanted to write something that joke would be on the teacher, not on her. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan, where 3 baby ducklings who were bitten to death by the father because they quacked too much. So she wrote that poem, that essay in verse, where she wrote about a story of ducklings. Those used to quack, and father really got annoyed at them for their quacking. So one day he really got sick of their quacking that he beat them, and with his beating the children, the ducklings died. And because what was their fault? They were quacking as it was their personality trait, and father got irritated with the sound they created, and he just beat them so harshly that they died. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke the right way. So Anne here is expressing that it was fortunate that the teacher had taken the joke in a right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments, and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On contrary, Mr. Keesing always making jokes these days. Now, because of Anne's poem, the mathematics teacher, Mr. Keesing, was able to understand the problem of the children, and he became a little lenient, a little understanding with the children, and that way Anne was able to convey that talking is a personality trait of the students, and it was not easy for them to control that. So Anne was allowed to speak in the class, talk in the class, and rather there was a little change in the behavior of the teacher, Mr. Keesing, and he also started cracking jokes etc. in the class those days. So that is all in this chapter of the Diary of Anne Frank. I hope you enjoyed the explanation, and you most of the things are clear to you. If there is still any doubt, you can just write that doubt in the comment box below, and do subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates of my videos. See you in the next video. Bye for now.